This happened when I was just a kid, 2nd or 3rd grade. It's hard to remember things from that long ago, but this one stands out. You'll see why in a minute. It was a school day, and the rain had been pouring down like crazy all afternoon, with no signs of stopping. I was so used to storms like this that I didn't think much of it when the wind started to pick up. I just knew something about that day felt different. The storm seemed stronger than usual, almost as if nature itself was trying to show its power. I had no idea that this particular night would change everything for me forever. After school, my parents took off for some fancy event. I don't even remember what it was. A fundraiser or a dinner party, maybe. They were supposed to come back that night, but the storm got worse. The rain turned into something more dangerous, and everything started getting out of hand. It became too risky to drive home, and the situation escalated quickly. So, they decided to stay the night at one of their friends' houses. I remember my mum calling me from the house phone and apologizing over and over again for leaving me alone, even though I kept insisting that I was fine. I didn't mind at all. I was actually kind of excited about it. The house was all mine for the night, and that meant no rules. No bedtime, unlimited candy, and total freedom to do whatever I wanted. I didn't even have a TV in my room, so I stayed downstairs in the living room watching cartoons. My mum gave me a list of things to do before bed. Lock all the doors and windows, leave one light on, and make sure all the blinds were shut. At the time, I didn't understand why she was so worried. I thought I could just do everything quickly before going to sleep. Had planned on staying up all night anyway. It seemed simple enough, and I was more than happy to enjoy the night by myself. But, as usual, the sugar crash hit me hard, and I accidentally fell asleep on the couch. When I woke up, the TV was off, and it had been hours. I couldn't remember the last time I checked the time, but I knew it was late. The house felt colder than before, way colder. It didn't make sense. I thought maybe the heater had been knocked out by the storm, but everything seemed fine. No windows were open, and nothing felt out of place. Yet the chill in the air was undeniable. I figured I must have been imagining things, but the temperature difference was significant enough to make me second-guess myself. I got up, checked all the windows, and locked the doors like my mum told me. But the house still felt unnaturally cold. I thought maybe I missed something, but everything was secure. I double-checked everything just to be sure. I even made sure the light was left on, as per her instructions. Still, the feeling of coldness didn't go away. Finally, I went upstairs to my room, thinking I could just forget about it. I just wanted to get into bed and try to go back to sleep, but something about the cold, eerie silence bothered me. Something felt wrong, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. That's when I realized just how bad the storm had gotten. The rain was slamming against my bedroom window like it was trying to break through, and the thunder, it was so loud it felt like it could tear the house apart. I didn't mind storms usually. They didn't scare me, but that night, I was worried a tree might fall through the roof. I could hear the wind howling outside, and the trees bending under the pressure of the storm. It felt like the world outside was being torn apart. Still, I tried to get some sleep, but it was harder than usual. But as I lay there, I kept hearing strange creaking noises. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but the sound didn't match anything I had ever heard before. It wasn't normal. It seemed to come from somewhere else inside the house, not from the wind or the trees outside. It sounded like something shifting, like the house itself was reacting to the storm in some way. It was unsettling, I couldn't just ignore it. I got up, walked around, and looked around the room. Nothing unusual, but the noises wouldn't stop. I tried to calm myself down, telling myself it was just the storm, but the sound seemed to be getting closer. Then, the next lightning strike illuminated the room for just a split second, and I saw it. My closet door was slightly ajar. It had been shut earlier, and I was sure of it. I froze. Someone had opened it. My heart raced, and I could feel a knot forming in my stomach. I didn't scream. I didn't even think. I just got out of bed as quietly as possible. Every muscle in my body felt tight, like I couldn't move fast enough. I didn't know what was in there, but I had to get out of the room. I didn't scream. I didn't even think. I just got out of bed as quietly as possible and walked out of the room, feeling like every step took forever. My feet barely made a sound as I tiptoed toward the door. I tried to stay calm, but my mind raced with panic. I ran downstairs and hid under the dining room table. That's when the tears came. I was all alone in the house, and I knew there was someone or something upstairs. It felt like the walls were closing in on me, and I couldn't do anything about it. My mind was racing, and I was terrified. And then I heard it. Footsteps. But not normal footsteps. They sounded like someone was stumbling down the stairs, as though they didn't even know how to walk. The steps got closer, and I could feel my heart in my throat. Every beat felt like it was echoing in my ears. I could barely breathe, trying to stay as still as possible. Then I saw them. 2 bare feet stepped into view. The legs were soaked, covered in mud, bruised and scraped. It looked like they had been dragged across something rough. The person was barely able to stand, and each movement seemed painful. They were so unsteady on their feet, I thought they might collapse any second. As they walked closer to the table, they dropped something a wrench. It clattered on the floor, and I could barely keep myself from screaming. My body was frozen in place, and every part of me wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I held my breath. I didn't dare make a sound. The figure stood there for what felt like an eternity, and then, finally, they walked away. The chaos upstairs continued for what felt like hours. The footsteps were erratic and wild, like whoever it was didn't have any idea what they were doing. Eventually, the front door opened, and I heard it slam shut. They were gone. My mind was still reeling from the shock of what had just happened. I stayed under that table for hours, paralyzed by fear. My body felt like it was locked in place, and I couldn't make myself move. I couldn't even stand up to check if they were really gone. When I finally mustered the courage to move, I grabbed the wrench, making sure it wasn't there when my parents came home. I locked the front door and crawled back upstairs. The rest of the night was a blur. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see the person's legs and hear the wrench clattering to the floor. The fear stayed with me. It haunted me, like I could still feel them lurking just outside my door. It wasn't until years later that I told my parents what had happened. They didn't believe me at first. They thought I had just been imagining things, that I had misunderstood what happened that night. And I still regret not telling them sooner. It was a terrifying experience, and it stayed with me for the rest of my childhood. I never slept without a nightlight again, and even now, I sometimes find myself double-checking the locks before going to bed. So, here's the lesson I learned that night. Always lock your doors at night. You never know what might be lurking just outside. You never know who or what might be waiting in the dark.